Canada Day in Victoria. Always a good opportunity for an outing. Okay, so I have a beautiful old boat. First order of business though is to strip off the paint from the cabin sides and restore that beautiful mahogany. I have tons of pictures of this, but sadly no video, so I'm only going to show you a few pictures and move on to where I started to figure out that I better start shooting video again.
The transom was fiberglassed, and one always wonders when something's been fiberglassed just how desperately miserable it is underneath. I did a tiny little test over here some time ago and determined that in fact the transom is mahogany and, you know, in reasonably good shape from that tiny little hole I made. I can see it's been splined at the joints at some point, probably with not a matching wood, certainly not mahogany, so they'll need some attention. And there are a couple of other messes, of course. The door is in terrible shape, as you can see. The center section had been removed and replaced with mahogany plywood, which instantly rotted. I've got to get these horrible davits off. I mean, they're not horrible, they're actually quite nice. I've already got that one off so I can get aboard properly. And we'll start stripping. As you can see, I've already started stripping a little bit on this side. And it's actually going remarkably well. A little heat, and that's pretty much all that's required to peel this stuff off. And the wood I'm finding underneath on the hole is pretty good. Hello. Started out to continue stripping the transom. This side has had the fiberglass removed, and this side I've used the heat gun to strip off the remaining epoxy and body filler. But the sun is just too hot at this time of day. So I'm going to go forward and work on the windshield, which is basically a windscreen, I guess you'd call it on a boat. And cut my wire there. So I'm going up onto the foredeck here. And we'll deal with this nasty windscreen. I've been looking forward to doing this because it looks so horrible every time I come down the wharf. It shouldn't be that big a job because there's not much of a surface area, and I'll be curious to see what kind of shape the wood is in, especially on the frame where it's been getting wet a lot. Anyway, so let's get to it. Cheers. Okay, so sanding the front windshield. It's going great, except like a couple other places on the boat, it's been repaired, unfortunately, with Douglas fir. And not that that's a bad wood, but it's not a great wood, and it's hard to make it stain to match the mahogany and the teak. But we'll find a way around that. Okay, so this probably isn't a good idea, but I don't know if I've mentioned yet that the entire inside of the cockpit is also fiberglass over mahogany. This wall is mahogany. This is mahogany. All this trim here is mahogany. Likewise all the way around the other side, and it's all been covered with fiberglass in an effort to modernize it. Anyway, it's been very well done, but I want it off. And I hate the fact that these little slits in it are causing water to leak down inside, and that mahogany has been wet for years now. In fact, in one spot right here where water is chronically leaking down here, it's soft there. So certainly the first 4 inches or so of that bulkhead is going to have to be replaced, which is not an insignificant job. But if you don't get at it, it doesn't get done. Well, so far it wasn't a very good idea. This strip is thin, as I suspected it might have been, cheap mahogany veneered plywood, which of course has been wet and is useless. So what I'm curious is whether or not under it, maybe flush with that line, is some real solid, pretty mahogany. But I'm making a mess now. Might as well keep making it. Well, in life's long list of bad ideas, that has to rank pretty much near the top. This strip along here, as I said, was just cheap. 1/4 inch mahogany ply. Probably not even mahogany, more likely Luan. And as I suspected, this was faired in here to make the fiberglass look nice. Doesn't that look nice there? But that's good solid mahogany. That's good solid mahogany. And I suspect there's mahogany decent under there. Although when you make the turn, you can see some ugly thing happens here. So there's no doubt I'm going to have to replace something here. In retrospect, I suppose that looks relatively neat now. Oh wow, had to be done. I had to know. Well, started peeling it off the bulkhead. This wood is really rough, really rough. It's pulling a lot of the grain out, as you can see. It had to be done, right? It had to be done. I'm still pleased, I think. Time for beer. Cheers.